Keep the ranch and stay out of our lives, my daughter-in-law said during my husband's will reading. I simply nodded. A week later. I swear, I never thought the worst day of my life would arrive after I'd already buried my husband. But there I was, still in my funeral dress, watching my son and his wife carve up my life in front of a lawyer. And that's when the real heartbreak, the truly gut-wrenching betrayal began. It had only been 3 days since Levi's funeral. The law office reeked of stale coffee and old documents, a scent that now forever reminds me of disappointment. I sat in a rigid chair, my hands clasped, while my son Quinn shifted uncomfortably across from me. Beside him, his wife, Maisie, practically oozed boredom, meticulously examining her manicured nails like it was the most fascinating thing in the room. When Mr. Henderson, the lawyer, finally cleared his throat to read Levi's will, I braced myself. To my beloved wife Mildred, he began in that flat, practiced monotone. I leave the ranch property on Willow Creek Road. Before he could even finish, Maisie let out this exaggerated sigh, so sharp it felt like a physical jab. Oh, for crying out loud, she snapped, rolling her eyes. Just get rid of that old dump and come live with us. You can help with the kids and actually be useful for once. My chest tightened, a cold knot forming right there. Quinn, my son, the boy I'd rocked to sleep, the child I'd worked double shifts for after his father couldn't keep a job. He just stared at his hands. He couldn't even look at me. He said nothing. Mr. Henderson continued, his voice growing quieter, almost apologetic. The main residence, investment accounts, and remaining assets are to be divided between. Maisie perked up then, sitting straighter. Finally, she murmured, something worth talking about. And just like that, they started discussing my entire life as if I wasn't even there. The house where I'd lived for 37 years, where I'd raised Quinn, where I'd nursed Levi through his final illness. It was all being carved up, parceled out to strangers. Because that's what Quinn had become to me. A stranger wearing my son's face. When the reading was finally over, Maisie stood up, smoothing her designer skirt with an air of absolute triumph. Well, Mildred, she said, her voice dripping with the fakest sweetness you could imagine. I guess that settles it. Just get out of our lives and go play farmer at that old ranch. Maybe the isolation will give you time to think about all the ways you failed as a mother. Failed as a mother. Those words hit me like a physical blow. A punch to the gut. I'd sacrificed everything for Quinn. My career, my dreams, my very identity. I'd worked nights at the diner while he slept, saved every single penny for his college fund. I'd celebrated every small victory, mourned every disappointment as if they were my own. Quinn finally looked up then. But instead of defending me, instead of even looking angry, he just said quietly, maybe it's for the best, Mom. You and Maisie have never really gotten along. Never gotten along? As if this was some petty disagreement between women, not a systematic years-long campaign to erase me from my own family. Maisie had been poisoning him against me, finding fault with every single thing I did. My gifts for the grandkids were inappropriate. My advice was outdated. The love I tried to show was suffocating. I understand. I whispered, my voice barely audible. I gathered my purse, my legs feeling suddenly shaky beneath me. I'll pack my things. Maisie's smile was triumphant, sickeningly so. Don't forget to take all those old photos and knickknacks, she said, almost as an afterthought. Where we're decorating anyway. 40 years of memories. Full story on the channel. Link below. Click now and watch what happened next.